This past August, I attended Bubonicon, a science fiction and fantasy convention in Albuquerque, New Mexico that focuses more on the written word than movie and graphic novel focused Comic-Cons. And it was a blast. I met many wonderful authors and bought a bunch of their books, and I'm going to tell you all about them with a focus on the positives and what authors can learn from what these indie and small press authors are doing right. First off, my table mates are the authors of Unrelenting and the illustrator of the Bad Bitch coloring book. Unrelenting by Marie Parks and Jessie Honard is a paranormal thriller with a focus on great characters. I've already covered this book on my channel, so go check that video out. The Bad Bitch coloring book by Villyard is exactly what it sounds like, and if you're at all intrigued by the idea of an adult coloring book with that title, you can go ahead and buy it and you won't be disappointed. My immediate table neighbors included a bunch of interesting authors and books. In no particular order, Companion to Darkness by Casey Moores. This prolific author writes fast, fun military sci-fi in an ever-expanding universe. Companion to Darkness takes place in this big, broad universe, but it certainly stands alone well enough. It opens like your typical military sci-fi with a massive battle, but most of the remaining fights are actually close quarters affairs, relying on martial arts more than heavy artillery. There is a character that I can't help but picture as this guy from Rogue One, as well as battle cats and plenty of teenage angst. In fact, I might even say that this book is a young adult military sci-fi. The battle is deadly serious, and there is even some sex, but it's all PG to PG-13, and among the main characters is a rebellious teenager discovering her identity while finding her place amidst cultural and parental expectations. What authors can learn here is how to drive forward a narrative. Every scene features a character with a clear, concrete goal, the success or failure of which is obvious. This is fundamental, but too many authors present characters with vague goals such as prove their worth or become a leader. Casey Moores nails it, and he has to, because a book like this has to keep up its momentum. Next up is Not Your Mountain by A.J. Alexanders. This is a light, playful fantasy coming-of-age story about young Matrodin, Maddie, the dwarf. It intentionally leans on D&D tropes and is wholesome to the core. What authors can learn here is how to get readers to care about your main character, and that's by having the patience to take time with your hero's thoughts, feelings, and mundane but relatable moments in their life. The author lets us sit with Maddie at the dinner table, shows us Maddie forming relationships, making mistakes, and not just rushing from one action set piece to the next, though there is plenty of action here. Honestly, for how short this book is, it takes a little bit of time getting going, but the reader actually cares about this character, and it's for simple reasons. He has goals and ambitions. He cares about people. He's naive in some ways, and it gets him in trouble, and that too is so relatable. Price of Innocence by Michelle Piper is a combination of breathtaking ambition and a standard high fantasy setting. The ambition takes the form of multiple points of view, parallel storylines in different times with characters of vastly different ages, and themes of morality, people ordered to do bad things who are carrying out those orders. On the flip side, the setting is simple and familiar. Sword and sorcery, castles, knights, evil queens. It's a story of child political prisoners growing up in pampered captivity, but also pardoned criminals who carry out a cruel and jealous queen's orders. This book shines when said criminals are bickering with each other, are letting their internal conflicts spill out into verbal and physical conflict with their peers. And this is what other authors can learn most from Price of Innocence. Don't let your characters keep their feelings to themselves. Internal conflict must break out into external conflict. Though this story is ambitious in scope, the many characters make one thing easier. They provide an opportunity to shine light on different justifications for the immoral actions taken. They support the theme. People see things differently. They come from different places. Conflict is inevitable. Let your characters be true to themselves and also take a risk. Bite off a little more than you can chew. And speaking of ambition, Rock Gods and Messy Monsters by Diane Hatz. This is grotesque satire that reminded me immediately of Beetlejuice, especially the scenes of the afterlife bureaucracy. Corpses, but make it corporate. Upper management at a record company, but actually spill that toxicity into the physical world. What authors can learn here is how valuable creative detail can be. It can be so fun for the reader, and it can reinforce the theme and perfectly articulate the mood. Everything from a gross but mundane nose-picking CEO to a manager who is literally falling apart, scrambling to pick up body parts and glue herself back together. One Goodreads reviewer writes, "The characters felt like a middle schooler thinking of wild ideas for people while doing a creative writing assignment." And I certainly consider that a compliment. It's perverse and free and out there with its own wild energy. Last but not least, Mr. S.'s House Guest by Savanna Rain Uland. A damaged veteran, Mr. S, brings home a young female guest who he hopes will succeed where previous exorcists have failed. And if not, well, maybe he can get laid. But when the demons meet Mr. S.'s house guest, well, it's surprises all around. This is a very short, horror-adjacent story, mostly but not entirely from the point of view of one of the demons haunting Mr. S.'s house. This one kept surprising me with its quirks and twists. It's creepy, but most importantly, it's fascinating. There's just the right amount of world building, with plenty left to the imagination. I'm honestly having a hard time with what exactly authors can learn from this story, and nonetheless, this is my pick for Best in Show. I read it out loud, which I do think is to its benefit and is perhaps to the benefit of much horror. But what makes it stand out is the empathy for all of its characters, every last one of them, even and especially the demons. That angle on this horror story kept me engaged, as well as that surprising and interesting world building that was just doled out in little pieces that kept me wanting more. So readers, here are a whole bunch of indie books across the spectrum of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. There is surely something that will interest you. I didn't get this video completed before the holidays, but it's never too late to support a lesser-known author. Consider checking out one or more of these. I'll provide links in the video description and pinned comment.